Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this channel, the Lacanian Chalkboard. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences between Freud, Lacan, and where that leads us regarding neuroscientific knowledge. So, my whole research, investigation, I like to call, is directed to the fact that Freudian psychoanalysis was, and it is, studied from the point of view of neuroscience, neuropsychoanalysis. There are some efforts regarding Lacan as well. And, well, I don't think that's even remotely possible if you want to keep the subversive aspect of Lacanian theory, but it's a legit research program. But the point for us is Freudian psychoanalysis was taken there to the neuroscientific field because it was open to it, because you can operate with the same logic. You need to tweak something here and there, but at the end, you can operate with the same logic because you have linear time, you have evolutionary ideas, phylogenetic ideas, vitalistic ideas that obviously are not um, scientific, but and sometimes are confused with biology. But Freud was both inclined was both biology biology oriented and vitalistic oriented. Was also based on Schopenhauer, whereas Lacan is a different word. So we're going to talk today about representation and the theory of the signifiers, and from there trying to see what that leads us in relation to a body and the importance of developing psychoanalysis in opposition to neuroscientific um, knowledge. Not because we distrust neuroscientific logic, but because our theory is a different theory, works with a different logic that the majority of the neuroscientific knowledge, not all. I'm a Strange Loop, by the way, is a book by, I don't think he's a neuroscientist per se, but he talks a lot about neuroscience, and he's a mathematician and some kind of cognitive psychologist, I believe. But it's a good book, I'm a Strange Loop. Um, so not all neuroscience, but the majority of the neuroscientific field, yes. And why is it important that we steer away from neuroscientific knowledge? Because we want to be in opposition to the dox. Psychoanalysis is an heterodox discipline. It's supposed to be in opposition to medical knowledge. Where medical knowledge sees one thing, we can either see nothing, meaning it's none of our business, or we can see something in a completely different um, framework. Stress, what stress in psychoanalysis? It's absolutely not what stress is from a neuropsychology psychology point of view, from a neuroscientific point of view. As a matter of fact, we don't know what stress is in psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is the clinic case by case. So stress can only be something in relation to other signifiers in a particular case. That's where the potency of Lacanian theory lies, and where Freud, on the other hand, as as a revolutionary as he was, as focused and honest and great author and writer, he didn't offer the same possibilities with his theory. So, traces. The Freudian system, inscription of an experience, correct? Now, you can comment whenever you like if you feel that there's something to disagree with about what I'm going to say about both Lacan and Freud. Also, the inscription of an experience as a mark is not referred to any other marks, but to the trace of each experience with an energy associated with the intensity of the experience. Now, for Freud, what happened cannot be changed because Freud works with the arrow of time. He works like this. The value of something can be changed. So something could have a specific value now, and then in 10 years will have a different value. But what happened, happened. The inscription is the inscription. That's the Freudian system. Now, Lacan has the theory of the signifiers, which requires not a little person, not a brain, not a blank slate to be inscribed on over and over and over until something remains outside. Lacan requires a methodological abstraction called synchrony, which is that we can only work with the idea that language is already there. Language and discourse. Language and discourse. And this is so important because there's this idea that psychoanalysis can reveal some kind of nature in men that is completely the opposite of what I believe and what I researched that Lacanian theory is about. Anything that we can do, we can only do because it is structured as a language, in the language that we speak, the natural languages. It's there as a network of logical elements when we speak, when we are in a session with an analyst. Not to be interpreting people out on the streets when they say something. It's a theory. It requires a procedure, a logical operation. So Lacan requires that we think that language is already there. We don't need a body to have a subject in Lacanian psychoanalysis, in Lacanian terms. Nor will we find libido, drive, jouissance, wherever you want to, wherever you can think of as natural objects in the world. Lacan took us from three-dimensional thinking to two-dimensional thinking, precisely so he can work with structure, language, and discourse. He took us to the Mobius strip so we don't have to think about any hidden aspect of the unconscious. Depth. It's not inside anything. The unconscious is structured like the language, and the unconscious is the discourse of the other. It's, I believe, essential that we do not operate with an evolutionary idea of things. The subject does not evolve. Time is not linear. And things don't operate from inside to the outside, being from molecules, from the brain, from the blood, from the muscles, whatever. It's not that we operate with a theory that says that some things are outside the symbolic, they cannot be captured. Everything is a production from the symbolic, a logic that didn't fit that logic, but still it emerged as an impossible. Why are we so attached to the idea that the real is flesh and bones? I think it's something that is difficult to overcome. But to me, that's where Lacanian radicality lies. And also why it's so important for us to know that psychoanalysis is not a key to the world. It's not something that can explain everything. It's a theory that accounts for certain problems. So, what's our challenge? Why is it important for us to differentiate Freud from Lacan? Because on one side, on Freud's side, you need a body. And you need the real body, the biological body, the body that we speak of, the body from medicine. But don't you forget that all patients Freud's were sent to him because the doctor said, you have nothing in your body. And still the body was in pain. So it was a mistake to think that something was coming from the body. It's precisely the production that created that impossible within the symbolic. Nothing is outside. The symbolic produces the impossible, the real as impossible. That's how science operates, by the way. It's not just psychoanalysis. So avoiding being absorbed by neuropsychoanalysis is fundamental to keep Lacanian subversive aspects alive. The only clinic, case by case, where love, there's no psychoanalytic perspective on everything. What's sadness? It's sadness in relation to another signifier in a specific particular case and clinical text. Not as it is for neuroscience and for neuropsychology or for psychology or for psychiatry. That's what's subversive about psychoanalysis. That we can have a subject without having a body. That we accept that language is already there. Language appeared 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 years ago. It was already there. It's already there. What's before? All elements together, working by difference. Okay, so radical idea is to go from 3D to 2D thinking. And that's what is going to allow us to work the theory of the signifiers. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.